Hard to believe 2024 is already upon us, and fittingly, this replay is from its current year. And in this current year, I wanted to talk about one of my greatest wishes. That would be a Norsca rework or a DLC. Of course, we've got the Shadows of Change rework on the horizon coming up very soon. And of course, there's also Thrones of Decay should be on later this year. Hopefully, though, I mean, in the second half of the year, we get some kind of DLC or rework for Norsca. They're by far the satisfaction with two legendary lords, one generic lord type, unit roster is good, but at this point has been stale for a few years. So really hope for a Norsca rework. That's probably my number one wish for 2024, and I'll probably talk more about what I want to see in that in future videos. But for today, its current year is going to be taking his Norskins into the High Elves. He's got Marauders and Marauder Champs mixed up front. It looks like 2 Champs, 3 regular Marauders. Got plenty of Javelins as well, 3 of them, some Warhounds and Beasts of Tashnar, some Armored Skin Wolves as well, Norscan Ice Wolves. So it's pretty standard stuff. Lore of Metal. Let's take a look at the spell kit here. And if I can pull it up, yeah, Searing Doom, Plague of Rust. Meanwhile, for the High Elf side already, we've got Imric and Spears charging in. Fireborn, Archers, looks like Lore of Metal and Life, along with the Phoenix. Let's get some beautiful cinematics of this initial frontline engagement as it gets underway. Definitely better that the, well, hard to say if it's better, actually, that the Fireborn went straight into the Champs. They're definitely going to be doing quite a bit of damage there, but otherwise they would just be mowing down regular Marauders like these poor sods in the back line who are about to get absolutely run over and terrified away by the Frostheart Phoenix. Quite a painful experience there. Meanwhile, yeah, Archers getting compromised almost immediately by these Skin Wolves. More Skin Wolves, Ice Wolves lurking in the back line. Definitely need to be collapsing, but Norsca having some issues with Imric immediately with terror and whatnot. Wulfric just standing by for now, not really wanting to overcommit to an engagement, which definitely makes sense. Also stand back, use his debuffs and his Lore of Boats AoE attack, of course, do good damage as much as possible. Now moving into combat, let's see here, just Plague of Rust actually. Interesting to layer, Hunter of Champions does debuff armor, so if you layer that with Plague of Rust, you can actually get minus 90 armor, and we see already Imric has taken massive amounts of damage from these Javelins here, and that is definitely some great synergy. Despite that, though, balance power still relatively even. I mean, High Elves are definitely taking some losses, and all the Archers are in shambles, but Imric manages to get back up in the air. He's got healing, potentially, to get him back up to strength to keep fighting here. But we'll see. Norsca definitely got a really nice synergistic attack there, greatly benefiting them. Frostheart Phoenix, though, is still an absolute terror, terrifying away these Marauders, and also getting hit by the Javelins. Javelins are just so strong, man. Armored Skin Wolves also moving in now. That Hunter of Champions speed debuff is pretty brutal as well. Norsca's got a lot of synergy, honestly, between speed debuffs and armor debuffs, anti-large, ability to bring down large monsters, which is why Imric is a risky choice here. I don't necessarily hate the pick, but yeah, he is going to get absolutely happy Javelin Dade. In honor of Heir of Carthage, he is perhaps going to survive here. We'll see. Looks like Regrowth did go off, but it's not going to be enough to save him from shattering, and quick army losses for the High Elves. So relatively quick replay on this New Year's Day, but it's definitely something to be aware of, and it does give me a little bit more of an opportunity to talk about what I want to see in a Norsca rework sort of towards the end of the video. But let's just quickly look at values before we do. Now, the Javelins are really going to be where it's at. 22, 21 on one, almost 10,000 damage dealt. That's a lot of damage on Imric primarily. The other Javelins certainly are cost-effective, more than pay for themselves. Just insane value there. Such great synergy, and it definitely showcases Norsca's sort of monster hunter heritage, if you will. Ice Wolves also decent disruption. Didn't have to do too much. John FB here, a decent player, just kind of gets buzzsawed by a build that's very well designed or fighting high elves, it would seem. And I'd be curious, maybe I'll have to do like a best of 5, showcase, best of 7 maybe. I don't know about specifically these factions, but it'd be interesting to see this specific matchup maybe with like Ryder Rohan or another really experienced tile player. Not that John FB's not an experienced tile player, but just be interesting. I think, yeah, I'm curious, Ryder Rohan, if you watch this, your thoughts in the comments down below about this build and maybe how to combat it. Maybe you can DM me if you don't want to share publicly. But anyway, yeah, fun stuff. Let's go ahead and just talk a little bit more about Norsca. So there's a few different directions they could go with DLCs for Norsca and adding more stuff. And sort of the main 2 avenues I see are doing a Champions of Chaos where they get more god-specific stuff, or they could add new like subcultures such as, let's say, Skeggi, right, which is the Norskins who live in Lustria. They could potentially have some cool unique units, and there's some others, like I believe the Norscan tribes near Cathay also have sort of a distinct identity, at least in the lore. So it'd be cool to see that represented within the game, and those are probably, the subcultures are probably things that could be parceled out and put alongside other faction DLCs, right? So at this point, we know pretty much the roadmap has been scrapped. I mean, they haven't confirmed it officially. Obviously, there's still Shadows of Change update, as I said, Thrones of Decay itself will be coming out, and then according to the roadmap, next up was going to be Slaanesh alongside a couple of other factions, TBD. Now, again, I don't know if those plans have been completely scrapped, but certainly I think it'd be cool to see like Slaanesh and Norsca maybe versus Bretonnia. Those are 2 old world factions that are in great needs of update, and it would be interesting to see sort of 2 kind of chaos factions, not necessarily teamed up, but against one order faction. Alternately, again, they could do like a Champions of Chaos where they add just 4 new lords for Norsca, and this is the route that honestly I would prefer. They would be able to add god-specific Norscan Marauder type units. You would need to add a second tier, sort of a mid-tier, of which Berserkers would still be included, but you'd have to have something that you could have like maybe a Marauder Veteran, right? With Axe and Shield as the base variant. Again, god-specific variant, just like with Warriors of Chaos. And then you have your Khornate Marauder Berserkers of Khorne, right? You can have your Marauder Veterans with Grey Weapons of Nurgle. And your, Marauder, maybe put Marauder Halberd Veterans, so that, Norsca gets one more sort of monster hunting tool play into their arsenal. Or alternately, you could go down the track of giving Tzeentch guys javelins. Marauder hunters with javelins of Tzeentch. Could be interesting, potentially. Slaanesh is one. They could just straight up add the whips in here, and then, yeah, I think that's all of them. Did I cover all of them? Of course, you could add each of the champions in as well with the different weapon variants, and that would just pad out this roster quite a bit. Would it be the most interesting thing? Maybe not necessarily, but it would definitely give quite a lot of flavor, at least in campaign. You could do the same thing like with Horsemasters, right? That would give some differentiation between Warriors of Chaos, give you like an elite tier kind of hybrid skirmish melee cavalry for each of the different gods, and, give you like Marauder Horsemasters of Tzeentch, for example, right? It would also give sort of an end track elite tier unit for the Horsemasters, potentially, to go into. And then, yeah, I mean, those are sort of the 2 main avenues I could go. They could also, I guess, lean it more into the monster side and give us like a, like a Premier focused DLC with Premier characters and some more units, perhaps. Or I'm not really sure, to be honest. Let me know your guys' thoughts in the comments down below. Definitely one thing I would like to add just as a finisher: Sirtha Ek for Legendary Lord. I mean, they haven't so far added any of the sort of Game 1 Legendary Lords as playable, right? We have like Boris, Todbringer, the Red Duke. Sirtha Ek arguably is in this category by his own reputation. And like Sarthrel the Everwatcher, right? Some of these characters could be brought in as playable Legendary Lords pretty easily as free LC, and that's an easy win for the community that Creative Assembly can take all the way to the bank. So, I don't know. Hopefully we'll see something like that in the future. Maybe it's a pipe dream, but certainly we'll have to wait and see after Thrones of Decay comes out, what kind of state the game's in at that point in the community. Who even knows? Sega might have pulled the plug, to be honest, but hopefully not. Hopefully we'll continue on throughout this wonderful new year, and keep it right here for more. Be sure to subscribe if you're not. Like this video if you liked it. Share it with a friend. Thank you so much for watching last year and this year. We'll see you next time.